Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about something very useful in Jetpack Compose, and I'm pretty sure if you are using Jetpack Compose you have heard of this, but today we are going to be diving a little deeper into it, and we are going to be trying to understand what it does and how. So we are going to be talking about effects or side effects in Jetpack Compose. Now, what is an effect? Now, effect or side effect concept comes from a functional programming world. So in Compose, you use effect when you want to do some task apart from rendering UI. So here I'm calling a function from view model, right? And I am using a effect for that, right? Uh, why launched effect? Why not any other effect? I will talk about it later. And what is launched effect as well? I will talk about it later. But yeah, I'm using an effect to do something that is different than rendering the UI. Similarly, if you want to say do a network call or something similar, you can use a effect. Now, there are three kinds of effect. First one is side effect. It is a simple side effect that basically, or rather it is a simple effect that basically does everything you declare inside this block. It doesn't have a backing field to check on. So on every recomposition, it will execute whatever you declared inside this block. For example, here I am calling viewModel.recompose, right? So on every recompose, it will execute this and it will end up in a infinite recomposition. The second one is LaunchedEffect. It has a backing field to decide whether or not to call this block whenever recomposition happens. So here in this case, since I am passing unit, on every recomposition it will not call viewModel.recompose since this value of unit is never changed. So it will only call viewModel.recompose when the first composition happens, and on recomposition it will avoid that. I have used LaunchedEffect here as well, and in this case, whenever this add item query is updated, LaunchedEffect will be called, irrespective of recomposition happened or not. If add item query is updated, LaunchedEffect will be or this block within LaunchedEffect will be called. Now the third one is DisposableEffect. So for example, here my function returns unit, but say your function, you are calling some Rx function or you are calling some coordinate function, and whenever this composable is disposed, you want to basically dispose of your subscriptions, right? That's why DisposableEffect is there. So it has the similar backing field like LaunchedEffect. So whenever whatever you pass inside this key is changed, then only DisposableEffect block will be called, and whenever it is time to dispose of your subscriptions, on dispose will be called. Very simple and straightforward, right? Now side effect you won't be needing much because you will always want to protect against recompositions. So my recommendation would be to use LaunchedEffect when you don't need disposable. So let's dive into LaunchedEffect a little more and see how to actually what are the different ways to use it. So as you can see here, I want to call a viewModel function. Say instead of recompose we can call it init or anything, right? So I call it recompose because I was in a different example I was demonstrating how recomposition happens and how infinite recomposition happens and the ways to avoid that. But yeah, you are probably calling viewModel.init or you are probably calling something else, and you are doing something. In that case, you don't want to repeat it on recomposition. You my recommendation would be to use LaunchedEffect. Now, if you want to repeat it on decompositions, use SideEffect. Now, another way of using LaunchedEffect is what I have done here, right? So I have some state here, and whenever that state is updated, I want this block to be executed. And not only that, so it is basically a text field where user can type something, right? And we want to use a debounce effect here. So if we want to give user 500 milliseconds. So if user types something continuously, we want to basically wait till the user is done before we are doing what we are supposed to do. To achieve that, I used delay. So if you add a delay within LaunchedEffect, then it will wait this much before executing this the next part, right? And since LaunchedEffect or all side effects uses coroutine scope, it will be on a coroutine only. It will not be a blocking operation, it will be a suspending operation. Now, if you queue up multiple LaunchedEffects, so if user is typing, what happens is that a new LaunchedEffect would be created and old one will be discarded off or disposed of by itself. So you don't have to worry about running say 10 view model or at a time. So it will be called only once when the user is or when this 500 millisecond delay has passed and user didn't type anything to change update add item query within this delay or within this debounce. Now, as I said earlier, my functions here are not returning anything to observe on, right? So if my function returned completable or anything that needed to be disposed of whenever this block is disposed, in that case, instead of using LaunchedEffect, we'll be using DisposableEffect, and we'll have to write this on dispose where we'll define how to dispose of our observables or completables or whatever subscription we are using. It's very simple and straightforward and very useful as well. So yeah, that's where I would like to end this video. Hope you liked it. Hope this was informative and useful to you. If you have any suggestion, please do reach out to me. Feel free to DM me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Mastodon, and please click the thumbs up button. Please subscribe, tick the bell notification on, and see you next time.